I will say this before we start. I will say this before we start. First of all, hello everyone. Okay, second of all, Ghostbusters Afterlife is what the freaking Force Awakens should have been. Alright, let's get into this whole thing right quick. Ghostbusters Afterlife. It is what, like I said before, it is what Star Wars The Force Awakens should have been. Should have been. Now, I won't get into too much spoilers. I kind of want you guys to go see this movie. So I won't spoil it, all of it. But this movie has already made some backlash with the Twitter mob. They don't like it, and even the critics don't like it. They marked it at like a 52% or something like that. The audience rating as high as 96%. But let me tell you about this movie. I got the shirt on and everything. This movie was actually good. It was good. It wasn't woke. It was good. And it honored what came before it. There's not a lot of stuff out there that honored what came before it. I'm just glad that we finally got a franchise. Because I haven't seen Ghostbusters 2016. Not going to bother seeing it. Don't want to see it. Don't want to watch it. Don't need to see it. Got the gist of what it's about. It's garbage. So we can get rid of that. Just like the sequel trilogy. We can get rid of that and pretend like it never exists. This movie, it's not really a sequel. It doesn't feel like a sequel, but it feels like a sequel, but it's not a sequel. But it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's confusing. I wouldn't say it's a spinoff, but it serves as a perfect addition to the Ghostbusters. Everybody came back except for, of course, Harold Ramis. But technically, he did come back. But you know how they do when they have deceased actors. When they had to have the character, they use CGI and all this other stuff to bring him back. But the only person they didn't have was Rick Moranis. But I think he's done retired from acting, so they didn't have him in there. But they had everybody in there. Oh, that was a spoiler. They had everybody in this movie. Again, but they did the older characters justice. That's one thing I harp on when it comes to these freaking older franchises that they revive 20, 30 years later. You must make the original characters have justice. Do them justice. Do not kill them off. And none of that happened in this movie at all. I fear that, not to go off topic, but I fear that Jurassic Park or Jurassic World 3 will, hopefully it won't do that now that they got the original characters, Alan Grant, Ian Malcolm, and Ellie Sattler coming back. I hope they don't do that because we know when it comes to Terminator, I repeat myself once again, when it comes to Terminator and Star Wars, you know they off John Connor, you know they off Han, Luke, and Leia. I was saying off freaking Lando. But this movie, the only critique I have about this movie was way too long. 2 hours long. I actually kind of dozed off for a minute, tired day, but I think it should have been probably a couple of minutes shorter. But hey, what the heck? It's enjoyable. It really is enjoyable. It does have its flaws, just a tiny bit with some stuff. I'm not gonna say too much about it. The only thing I'll get when it comes to kids and movies, since this is pretty much kids taking up most of the screen time, kids are too on it when it comes to certain stuff. Like the main character, like Egon's granddaughter, she's way too on it about certain stuff. She's smart. They made her smart with her dry humor and everything else. They almost been trying to make her a split image of him. But they also didn't try to go too far with it when it comes to being woke. Like they made her character actually a appropriate character and a character that didn't mash anything that came up before it. Unlike what they did with Rey, they just made Rey this super powered Jedi and with no training. They didn't try to define too much of the male characters at all. Paul Rudd is gonna be Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd is always gonna be Paul Rudd. He's always gonna be that goofy type of character in this film. I didn't realize how old the I forgot what the kid's name from Stranger Things has gotten. It was gotten old quick. But His character's all right. He's the oldest kid. Um, but it really, this is the only spoiler alert I will do. It really brought a tear to my, almost a tear to my eye seeing the original Ghostbusters come out there once again and try to help save the day. They done it well. Like I said, they've done it better than what they did in the other franchises that they try to revive and try to bring back the old characters. See, like I said, you see how that has gone. What else I want to say about it? Screen time was too long. Yeah, I said most about it. Plot is simple. Bringing back an old enemy, of course. I thought they was gonna bring. Well, that's the only thing I have a thing. That's the only I wouldn't say it's a big right, but they kind of brought back an old enemy back from the first one. Like, you can guess who that is. But at the same time, it's all right. Like to see him expand a little bit more with a different type of enemy, but it's all right for what it is. I was not that much of a gripe on it. Other than that, and the screening time was a little bit too long. Other than that, you really can't complain about it. It's enjoyable. They do kind of show what happened to the original Ghostbusters since Ghostbusters 2. And they kind of do what they did with, for example, how they did with Force Awakens, explaining what happened to everybody and how they are. They kind of did that with this. But they did it in a good way, what happened to everybody after the second one. So nothing much to complain about. It's an enjoyable movie. I have to give it an 8 out of 10. I don't like they tried to bash it. Like some of the critics tried to bash it because it was too nostalgic and trying to too focus on what you saw in the past with the first two. That may be true. That may be true that they tried to harbor too much on nostalgia, but at the same time, it worked. Now, this is the same type of people that got mad at us for saying that Star Wars tried to rely way too much on nostalgia, didn't have a plot, and try to get mad at us for saying that. But it is what it is. Like I said, I do kind of agree with that they try to do too much nostalgic with this movie, but it called for it if you think about it. And then I think it brought some of those Ghostbusters fans from back in the day. I think if you're a Ghostbusters fan and you was a fan back in the 80s when the first two came out, I think you'll be a fan of this, and I think it might make you smile. 2016 makes people angry. Let's just say that. But like I said, I'm not going to get too much into it. I want you guys to go see this movie. Don't take my word for it. Go take it from what I've seen from across online when it comes to critics who don't work for don't shield for whatever, like the normal fan like me and you. Most of them like it. Most of them enjoyed it from what I've seen. So if you like Ghostbusters, not even if you're a novice fan at it or just a normie, you will enjoy this film. So with all that being said, I am out of here. I has to go because I am got to go. That's all I gotta say. I got to go. And if you haven't done it already, and it's your first time watching my video, like, share, subscribe. And once again, thank you for watching this video and this review. I got to go. Peace.